Hytale's CEO confirmed tons of upcoming features, as well as addressing the mystery of Mithril. Welcome to This Week on Hytale. I am Muffled Muffin. Let's dive into whatever happened to Mithril. Despite Mithril being visible in Hytale's crafting menus, Simon has confirmed that it was removed last minute from exploration mode in order to give the team time to rebalance it. It is very likely that this is referring to its spawn rate, as Simon said that the grind for Mithril will not be as bad as the current grind for Adamantite, which I reckon was probably an issue before it was removed. This is also a relief because people have been saying that they've spent upwards of 12 hours looking for a full set of Adamantite armor, which is quite frankly an absurd amount of time to be spending on such a thing. Apparently, Mithril is planned to spawn in gateways or something similar that uses World Gen V2 so that they have good control on how it spawns. This most likely means that V2 will feature better ore distribution tools, and once World Gen V1 is phased out, it will probably start to generate Mithril normally in Orbis. Simon mentioned that Mithril won't be as simple to mine as other metals. He didn't say anything about why, but I suspect it will somehow involve the use of magic to coax the ore out of the rock. On the topic of ores, there is an ore balance update coming very soon, because the current ore generation is cooked. Seemingly, it varies intensely by biome, and even between identical biomes in different worlds. The update is being tested and reviewed by the team, including Simon, and will feature an increase in Adamantite spawning as well as consistently, although Adamantite will now generate deeper than it currently does. The team is trying to push it out for this week's update due to Adamantite's particularly horrible distribution, but it does remain to be seen if they will pull that off. A feature that is confirmed for this week's update is the ability to hide your armor, which can be done for each individual piece. Servers will be able to control this function if they want players' armor to always be visible for PvP or immersion purposes. Shift-clicking armor into armor slots is coming too, and while it's not explicitly confirmed for Update 2, I can't imagine it would take a dev more than the morning that Simon said had already been worked on the feature to get it into the game. DPS and or damage per hit values will soon be shown for weapons within the inventory, and I hope that this is eventually extended to all differing stats of weapons, such as swing speed or knockback if those are ever added as stats that a weapon can have changed. Another feature with a vague soon as our only timeline indicator is the ability to save multiple skins so that you can quickly switch between them, which we'll also be able to do in-game through wardrobes. If you've ever been to a Queelec village, you can see there are tons of wardrobes, and weirdly they have no functionality, so that's what they'll be for. Dodge rolling in combat isn't currently in Hytale and isn't really intended to be added, but if you go to the creative inventory right now, you can find the combat bow, which allows you to dash in the direction that you're moving by pressing right click. This seems to be similar or identical to the old dagger dash with white streaks, although it definitely doesn't have as much range, so I hope that it comes back as a dagger feature or as a feature for all weapons. While I was testing this, I actually found a bunch of unique bows that I didn't know about that were just sitting in the creative inventory, including a bomb bow, a ricochet bow, a grapple bow, and a few others. For those of you who like flexing exactly how much time you spend playing video games, there is currently a playtime tracker in Hytale. There is no display that's been programmed in to show players this value, but it will be stored since day one, so as long as you're on the same game profile or potentially the same account, it'll be tracked, and at some point in time you'll be able to see it. Ladder climbing is being reworked by Muin, and there is an option within the gameplay settings of Hytale where you can change how the climbing works. By default, your camera direction determines climbing direction, with forward causing you to climb in the direction of your camera and backwards causing you to climb the other direction, but changing this option makes it so that W will go up and S will go down no matter what. You can still jump off the ladder like normal with this option enabled. I definitely prefer the new system, although I do need to get used to it, and you should test it out too, and let Mew know on Twitter which you prefer, plus give any other feedback on the system to him. This is, of course, one of the easiest ways for you to directly influence the game's direction. Simon was apparently the developer to come up with the memory system, and said that the Forgotten Temple is a community center and quest hub that will evolve over time. I have not personally interacted with either yet, but I have heard that they are quite cool despite trying to avoid spoilers as much as possible. Eventually, they will add some lore into the memories to teach people more about NPCs. Mod grouping within menus is coming to Hytale eventually. Simon wants to make progression more horizontal, which will allow them to spawn players in different zones, and he imagines that that'll tie into World Gen V2. This just means that various armor sets, probably thorium and cobalt, will be brought to have about equal performance so that there's not an inherent advantage or disadvantage to spawning in a different zone. Eventually, weather events will have a gameplay effect in Hytale, so things like sandstorms, which already exist in the game, will mean more than just a simple visibility reduction. Map markers are an upcoming feature as well, which is awesome because they really felt like they were missing considering Hytale's minimap, compass, and even Quebec village markers, as well as death markers, but its lack of anywhere that you could actually place your own markers. Boss fights are going to take a while to be added to Hytale because they're working on basically everything else first. Simon is very excited for boss fights though, don't let that fool you. I wouldn't be surprised if they're waiting for their NPC V2 system to come in before they invest too much time into mob design, although I'm not really sure what the timeline for that is, since it was only really mentioned once offhandedly by I think Slikey but maybe Simon, and hasn't been talked about much since. In a few updates time, some sort of raid mechanic will be added according to Simon, who was reacting to a player's watchtower build and said that soon there would be some way for mobs to come attack them. Other than update news, there was, of course, quite a bit of talk about Hytale's launch and success. A feature where players can milk moss horns, drink their milk, and turn themselves into moss horns was secretly added by Paris a week before early access, so now she's my favorite Hytale dev, and Simon joked that this was the fallout of him trusting the dev team too much. So I hope that other devs have snuck some silly features in themselves that we have yet to discover. Modding was also a huge success, which is awesome considering how mod-centric Hytale's marketing and development has been, with over 1 million mod downloads within 2 days of Hytale's release. In a very high-effort follow-up post, CurseForge celebrated reaching 2 million mod downloads within 3 days of release, which is just crazy. Slikey said that he told his team creating the Zone 4 caves and Zone 3 glaciers was going to be impossible with World Gen V1, and they went and did it anyways. So I guess the level designers are pretty cracked at their jobs. That is all for this week, and I must say it has been a very solid first week, especially considering Hytale was cancelled just 2 months ago. The series is a continuation of the daily Hytale update from before Hytale released, and if you'd like to see more of it, please let me know and I'll put a video out every Tuesday. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay hypey!